The Roman Catholic Church does not rule the world. The world is ruled by a contingent consisting of Goldman Sachs, ExxonMobil, Lockheed Martin, and Viacom. In the push for healthcare reform, one of the policies includes making contraceptives available for women. The Church has had a long-standing objection to birth control, but what the Church doesn't seem to realize is that not everybody is Catholic. And furthermore, most of the people who are, myself included, are utilizing contraceptives in spite of what we're told to think of it. I am Catholic, and I only have 2 siblings. I am Catholic, and I use condoms. I am Catholic, and I don't disparage gay people. I am Catholic, and I don't believe sex and sexuality should be scrutinized by people who are quote-unquote forbidden to embrace it themselves, and I use the term forbidden in quotations because I couldn't care any less if they get action on the side. Action that's 18 or older, that is. It doesn't make us cafeteria Catholics, as some of the more dogmatic followers will argue. It makes us popular opinion. It makes us practical people who live in the real world. It makes us the people who are throwing cash into the offertory just the same as the naysayers. We lecture, serve communion, sing in the choir, and work with the youth. We are the present and future of our institution. The world is not going to stand still or move backwards for the Church. The world is going wherever it may. Part of the Church's argument is that their own institutions, like hospitals for instance, will be forced to follow suit in making contraceptives available and that this is morally presumptuous. But once again, not every patient in a Catholic hospital is Catholic, or every employee for that matter. A grocery store has a kosher section, but if you're not Jewish, chances are you don't need to bother with it. The Church is overstepping its boundaries in a presumptuous gesture to hold back the only developed country yet to adopt government-sponsored healthcare and has no right to do so. We are a nation noted for being diverse both ethnically and spiritually and should be accommodated thusly. The majority of Americans support healthcare reform, and the majority of Catholics support birth control to be available in this plan. But the Church, a man-made, fallible institution, persists in its tired old stance on the matter. While the aforementioned parties who do rule the world may not necessarily do so for the better, the Church can't really boast a cleaner record, and they're not doing their credibility any favors by getting on a soapbox about contraceptives. Hospitals are rife with patients who have neither the means nor the intent of covering their medical expenses. Ultimately, the hospital is financially burdened because of this. Why would Catholic hospitals be an exception, especially when they are on the decline in the United States? Why is it feasible for they themselves to put their foot down over birth control when their own establishments are left at the mercy of insurance companies? In 2009, Father Stephen Hippler was forced to give up his pulpit in South Africa for distributing condoms to his congregation. He also wrote a book criticizing that the Church's stance on condoms was outdated. He set up an organization for priests and nuns who were HIV positive, and 2 months after doing so was reassigned by his bishops. But a newly assigned bishop renewed Hippler's contract to Cape Town. His work was then to be financed by the diocese, not the bishops. The recent focus has been mainly on how the Church's stance discriminates against women, which may be to a greater extent than it is with men, but in addition it can derail those in the Church who may not take textbook approaches, but take practical approaches to do good. And believe it or not, promoting safe sex in the most HIV/AIDS-infested region of the planet is a good thing. The majority of Americans favor healthcare reform, and the majority of Catholics use contraceptives. It's not up to the Church, it's up to the individual. 60% of Catholics support the initiative for contraceptives. They do not simultaneously agree with Church doctrine in the manner of a hive mind. The Vatican seems to have a hard time understanding that. Even if 100% of Catholics disagreed with the contraceptive plan, the government would still be bound by the entities to which they owe their campaign contributions. If they would rather pay for birth control than have a female employee take time off work for an obligation to her children, then that's what's going to happen.